Hey, y'all, we have a special episode of the Late Night Vision Show. And the reason why we're going to call it very special is because let me ask you this. Just like whenever your spouse asks you, do you know what today is? And you get that deer in the headlight looks. My co host, Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy, asked me that question this week. And just like a confused husband, I was like, I have no idea what today is. And he said and reminded me that this week or around this time, whenever the show's coming out, is our 7-year anniversary. So, Jason, congratulations. 7 years, 360 something weeks in a row of doing this show. I don't know how many days that is. I didn't calculate that, but man, it has been already 7 years and 360 something straight weeks without missing an episode. Congratulations, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
reminding
man.
me.
Same to you. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly when this show's coming out. So I know we're recording a couple shows because I'm going to be out of the office for a few days. So I don't know exactly when it's coming out. This may be a week or two past that. But yeah, we're basically right.
Right around the
May.
same
We
time.
can say that May
Yeah.
was the 7-year mark
7 years.
for this show. So yeah, that 360 something weeks in a row without missing a week yet. It will happen eventually. All the good streaks come to an end, but so far rolling along. And guys, we couldn't do it without all of our viewers and our listeners, because otherwise it's just two guys sitting here talking to each other, and we don't have to record it and upload it to do that. So we appreciate you. And I would say this, the number one thing I'd like to say is thank you to all of the listeners and the viewers who have supported us by choosing to do business with us, because this is the simple fact. The Late Night Vision Show is an extension of Outdoor Legacy, and that's what Hans and I do by day. That is our job, is selling thermal optics. And not just us, Garrett, our other salesman, the three ladies in the office. We've got a lot of people that this business supports, a lot of families. And so we appreciate those of you who have listened to our shows. I feel like there's been some little bitty tiny nugget of good information, which I know sometimes I question that, but hopefully you found something, and then chosen to come to Outdoor Legacy and support us by making your thermal purchase from us. And we would love, if you haven't done that before, maybe you've been buying somewhere else, maybe you've never bought an optic before, we would love to have a shot at your business. We would love to earn it. The first way we would love to earn it is by just showing you like this information that we're giving you for free on this show today. We're going to do a review of another new thermal optic, and we'd like to show you that we take this seriously. We test all of these optics, we use them in the field, and then we let you know what they will do, what they won't do, and who they're good for. So feel free to give us a call at 877-350-1818. And if you'd like to buy your scope from us, we are happy to walk you through that process and help you figure out just the right optic for you. You can always go to outdoorlegacy.com and make your purchase there, look around. But again, don't hesitate. If you want to buy from us, but you just don't know what you need, that's what we're here for. And we're glad to walk you through that process. Hans, I tell you what, we're moving into, I guess, spring, summer, as it's May now. We've got this scope that's been around for a while. We've just been gathering enough footage to review it, but we've also got a new scope that we're out collecting footage from now. Tell them what that is.
All right, Jason. All right. This is the much anticipated AGM Rattler V3, the TS35-640. A lot of people have been asking about this. We do finally have them. We have them in stock. Jason and I have been playing with them, testing them out. We are preparing a lot of footage to do a review, but if you are interested in it, you think you might want to buy it, you can actually call us now and we can go through everything we know about it. We've had some good time behind this scope. So you don't have to wait on the review. You can call us. We'd love to talk to you about it. And it is in stock right now. Outdoorlegacy.com. The Rattler V3s are here with the built-in laser rangefinders. Wanted to share that before we got into our full review. And this is a long time coming, Jason. The AGM Adder, this is the V2 Adder, the TS35-640 LRF. And we've got this right here. Jason's going to run through the specs. I got the scope. We're going to be showing a ton of video, and then hang on for the end to see if this scope might be right for you. But Jason, I'll let you get into the specs. We'll run some
Yeah,
video.
well, I'm going to mention something real quick. I want to compare this because I know there's a lot of Adder V2s, and sometimes it's like, how do these things compare? So we've already done a review on the Adder V2 640 LRF, and what that optic is compared to this is the 50 is a 3.5 power base magnification. The 35 is a 2.5 power base magnification. The 50 has an LRF built into the lens, just like that Rattler V3 you're holding, and the 35 has the LRF on the top. And so I know there's some immediate questions of, well, why is one, with it in the lens and one not? Currently, to date, AGM says that their engineers have not found a way to put the LRF in that lens as small as a 35 millimeter. They really need a 50 millimeter to get it fitted well and not have any issues with, obscuring your view or anything like that. So right now, they just can't get that into a 35 millimeter. I mean, hopefully that's something down the road in years to come they'll be able to do, possibly. But as it is, one more quick thing I'm going to just note is I know Hans mentioned that Rattler V3, and that is going to be an extremely similar optic, obviously in a different body style, to the Adder V2 5640. So it's a V3 5640 with the LRF in the lens. You got the Adder V2 5640 LRF in the lens. Going to be a few other little differences, image quality and some things obviously we can get into over the phone, but I wanted to lay that out. So today the review is the Adder V2 35-640 LRF 2.5 power base mag for $4,295. Just to compare that, the 3.5 power Adder 5640 is $47.95. So if you need the higher magnification, $500 gets that for you. Now I'm going to roll over these specs. I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly. So much of this stuff these days is just standard in these scopes, but specifically to this scope, it is a 640 by 512 resolution, 50 hertz refresh rate, 12 microns, sub 15 millikelvins. Again, as I've said multiple times, 35 millimeter lens. AGM says it has a detection range. That would be detecting something the size of a human standing up at about 1,968 yards, so close to 2,000 yards, detecting the heat of something that's, say 5-6 foot tall standing up. But really what matters to hunters is what is the ID range on something the size of a hog or a coyote. And we would say that's going to be somewhere in that 500 yard range. That's conservative. I think that's realistic. Good conditions, short grass, some experience. You may extend that on out. But being a 2.5 power base mag, it's really not going to be made for that super long range shooting, but still identifying, I think at 500 yards is very doable and reasonable on most nights. As mentioned, it is a 2.5 power base magnification. It does have digital zoom that goes up to 24 power. And also the incremental steps as you zoom are in half power. So that's really nice. If you just need a little magnification bump and don't want to really get into that digital zoom deep and lose a lot of that image quality, you could just go up to say 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, which is really nice. It has got a 66-foot wide horizontal field of view at 100 yards. It has an amazing, what we love, this is becoming so common now, the 2560 by 2560 huge high resolution display screen. It is a 1.03 inch OLED display. It is rounded on the edges, on the left and right edge. The top and the bottom are flat. Really, really like this display a bunch, man. It makes a big difference. We'll talk about that some more as we get into it. All the normal color palettes that you would expect, white hot, black hot, those are the ones that really matter. There are some other ones. One thing they have added is a green monochrome. A lot of guys seem to be liking that as kind of an alternative. Obviously, you've got all your onboard video recording, Wi-Fi to your app and all that. picture-in-picture. It does have the one-shot zero, which is pretty common across most all scopes now as well. Standby mode. It does have the built-in laser rangefinder, and that rangefinder is going to be 1,000-meter LRF. That is a long, long ways and probably further than you're going to need. But the cool thing is AGM also has all of their ballistic calculation software built into this. So if you put all your data into there, you do have a built-in ballistic calculator that functions with the laser rangefinder. All right, down to the nitty gritty, the important stuff, batteries. It's a dual battery pack system. It's got an internal, non-removable, rechargeable battery. On our test, we got about 6.5 hours of run time on that battery. You will plug the scope in via USB to charge that. It's got a fully removable 18650 battery, and it comes with 2 of those batteries and an external 18650 charger. We've got about 3.25 hours on both or each of those batteries. So if you just put one battery in, a removable 18650 and the built-in battery, you're looking at 9.75 hours right there. So almost 10 hours of runtime. And then again, you still have a spare battery. Obviously, as I mentioned, you can charge the scope with the USB-C plugged into the side, but you can also run external power if for some reason you ran completely out, want to plug it into a battery pack. You can also connect it to your computer and pull the videos off that way as well. The dimensions on this scope are about 16.5 inches long, 3.4 inches by 3.4 inches. It weighs about 1.9, sorry, hang on, I need my glasses. 1.83 pounds, sorry. And temperature rating is -22 on the low end. It is fully waterproof, fully submersible, 3 foot, 30 minutes. Rated for a 375 H&H, which is a mule kicker of a caliber. And it has got the AGM 5-year warranty, bumper to bumper on that scope. And AGM has awesome customer service. They're based right here in Texas. So if you need customer service help, you'll be talking to somebody here, and they're a great company to deal with. Hans, if I didn't leave anything out, why don't you start showing them around this scope?
Absolutely. So we have the laser rangefinder module right here on top. Like Jason said, the 50 millimeter has it built in the lens. The module here on the 35 is right here on top. 35 millimeter objective lens with an objective lens focus ring right here. It's got the ridges on it, so it makes it easy to find at night. Now, this does come with the American Defense Manufacturing mount. And like Jason said, it does run off an internal 18650 batteries, and they're removable. So the side compartment here is where your 18650 battery goes into, and then you're going to have an 18650 charging base that also comes in the package where you can charge the removable 18650 batteries as well. On top, you have it's just your menu button, so it's your full menu and your quick menu button. And then here by the eyepiece, you have your power button, your laser rangefinder button, record, the things that you're going to need most often when you're out there in the field, in between taking shots and scanning and everything that you need right there. Eyepiece diopter focus. It does come with a rubber eye cup. On these tube style scopes, I really never run them on the tube style scope, so I choose to leave it off. So it is removable if you want to be able to do that. But this is, Jason, for a tube style scope, doesn't feel very heavy. Feels pretty nice as far as weight there.
One thing I missed, I forgot to mention that it comes with that American Defense mount. That's a $250 mount.
We're just so used to it
with all of the adders.
Yeah, we're just so used to it with the AGM stuff we don't even talk about. It does come with the American Defense Manufacturing QD mount, return to zero mount. The tube style scopes are great for AR style rifle shooters, bolt action rifle shooters. I always tell people when they call in and we talk about the different form factors, compact versus tube style, and I ask them, what kind of rifle are you using? Or are you going to be using? And they say, oh, I just use AR style rifles. And my next question is, do you ever see yourself at any point wanting to use or switch over to a bolt action rifle? And a lot of times guys are like, well, Maybe, yeah. So then, we start to talk about tube style scopes and why those work so well and the importance of having the right form factor for the right rifle. That tube style scope is just really fits on anything universally. AR style chassis rifle, bolt action. But Jason, that's the walk around. I know we've got a lot of likes and dislikes, but definitely want to get into who this optic is good for as well.
Yeah, I want to just quickly. I was sitting here while you were doing that, kind of looking at the likes and the dislikes. There's no scope that's perfect. All right. I mean, we've yet to find a perfect scope, but we try to be pretty critical. And if we just find something that really jumps out, is like, hey, we don't like this about it, or we wish this was different, we bring that up. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's just not really much on this scope that we just say, gosh, we wish we could change this. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, before this show, Hans and I talked about it, and we just don't have anything that's just a major, like, oh yeah, that they should have done this differently. So to be honest, we don't really dislike anything about it. I think the likes are really big. I think the one thing we need to start with is really what you're looking at for a price. You're talking about $4,295, so $4,300, and you're getting a really high quality 640 high resolution optic with a built-in LRF, with ballistic calculation, with a $250 mount, and all the other features. I just think it's a really good value for the dollar. Now, we're going to get into here. The next thing, as Hans said, is who it's good for. This may or may not be the best scope for you, and we'll kind of talk about that and hopefully help you figure that out a little bit. But I think that there's just a lot crammed into this scope for $4,300. Again, ballistics, LRF, this big display. Guys, I'm going to tell you this. We're seeing these 2560 by 2560 high resolution displays becoming a much more common thing across most all the brands. I mean, it's just really a lot of the new optics have it. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say, oh, I wouldn't buy a scope if it didn't have it, but I'll say once you go to a scope with it, I think it's going to be hard for you to go back to something like a 1024 by 768 because these big displays are just right up in your face. Another thing I really like is it just feels natural is that curves on the left and right edges. It's just something about that feels like you're losing. I don't know, I'll say less real estate, or maybe it's just like feel like it's bringing it closer to you. It just feels natural looking in there. So I don't know. I really like it, Hans. I'm kind of gushing over the thing, but I
It's
just
kind of
think
like
that
an
there's
optical scope. Yeah, that rounded, it's kind
it
of
is.
gives you
It is.
that true daytime scope feel to it, which is most people overwhelmingly, I would say, like that feature of the now they like the rounded edges on the optic itself on the display, but the videos on
Yeah.
these come off a little bit janky, but that's okay. We
Well,
can
what,
get
well, what
around
Hans means there is when the videos come off, you'll probably see
that.
it. They're rounded on the
Yeah.
sides as well. And to be fair, AGM's not the only brand
No, not at all.
that's the way with these rounded displays. A lot of the brands, the videos are coming off rounded on the sides. So I know a lot of people don't like that. Kind of is
Yeah.
what that is. Trust me, the video is way less important than
Oh
what it
yeah.
looks like looking through the optic and having the best hunting experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, most people don't care about it. If you are a content creator, it drives you crazy because there's so much on the videos that come off, so much black space on either side. But so let's talk about who it is good for. Jason, we've talked about this optic. We talked about what type of rifle it would be good for, AR style rifle, bolt action rifles. But that 2.5 power with the laser rangefinder, and typically we've said in the past that a 2 or 2.5 power 640 resolution scope is going to be good for somebody whose average shooting distance is going to be 150 yards and in. And I would say that this is absolutely true with this Adder V2. 150 yards in is going to be the sweet spot, but I would definitely say you could take a 300-yard shot with this. You wouldn't want that to be your average shooting. If your average shooting distance is closer to 200 yards, you're definitely going to want the 50 millimeter Adder V2 because it's got the 3.5 power versus the 2.5 power. So it do give you two options. Yes, it's got a built-in laser rangefinder. Yes, it's got the high display, 2560 display. I think the uniqueness of this, Jason, and the reason why it's popular and will continue to be popular is because it's significantly less expensive than other competitors with similar features. I mean, let's be honest about it. This scope is, at least $1,000 less expensive than some competitor stuff, and it's still very, very good quality. So right now, it's the only optic that I can think of, tube style scope under 5,000. That's a 640 with a built-in laser rangefinder. Everything else is going to be over that price. Pending future watchings of this show and the tariffs that are going to come and be in place here, who knows when, but prices could change, just letting you know on all of this stuff. But it is a very good price, and AGM knew that. They said, hey, we're always going to work on making great scopes, but it's going to be a very price friendly. And I know that I'm going to get a comment and like, oh, $4,000 is not price friendly, but it is. If you look at the competing scopes, the direct competitors of this model, it's quite significantly less expensive than those.
Yeah, so I think that, Hans, I think you laid that out pretty good of who it's good for. To get into a little nitty or gritty of that, I think if you're in big wide open country and you're hunting coyotes, fox, small predators all the time, and you're likely going to be doing a lot of that 150, 200, maybe 250, 300, maybe further shooting, I think you would do yourself very well going to something like a 3.5 power. On the other hand, I think if you are in tighter quarters, sometimes I say the South, and that's not fair because I know there's guys that are up north that are hunting in smaller fields or in more wooded areas as well. But I think if you are in those closer conditions, and again, it doesn't mean that you can't see forever, but if you just feel like you're going to be able to get those animals mostly inside that 200 yards and mostly inside that, say, 100, 125 yards and in, then I do think that this is a great optic for you. I think if you're going to potentially be in the brush some or in the woods or just those shorter ranges, this is what you want. You want that wider field of view. You want that lower magnification. That's a mistake that a lot of people make, is by saying, well, I might take a 300 or 400 yard shot, and obviously a 3.5 power scope would be better for that, but I might take that shot, or every once in a while I will, so I need to get a scope for that. No, you need to get a scope that is best for what you do most of the time. And so if you aren't going to be taking those long shots, and the 2.5 power would do you better on a day-to-day basis, go that way. You want it to be you want it to fit the majority of your situations, and the one-offs, are okay. You can squeeze it in and make it work for that. So overall, I agree with you. Great scope, great image quality. Hans, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rabbit trail, so something we didn't talk about, but a question that we get a lot, and it's an understandable question, but it's, how does the optic perform in high humidity? And in whatever optic it is, we get that question a lot. And I think this is a more difficult question, or maybe it's an easier question to answer than it used to be. I think that all of the brands do so much better in high humidity than they did 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Oh, no
And
doubt.
I think that there were some brands that really struggled. I think there were some brands that got a lot better. I think there was brands that did really, better than others at times. But and Hans, this is really, you are free to disagree with me on this, but I just feel like we don't talk about it as much because no scope is going to look beautiful in terrible conditions, period. When anybody tells you, if it's really bad conditions, no scope is going to look great in that. But I just think that the playing field across the brands and the different thermal sensors that they each use has really leveled out pretty well. Do you agree or disagree with that?
They've all done so much better, and you can tell that that's been a focus for the manufacturers is how these optics are performing in high humidity. We know, if high moisture, what do you want to call it, dew point, rain, fog,
Yeah.
is going to degrade the picture image significantly from a night when there's a clear sky. But I think all of these companies, and a lot of this, Jason, as we've talked about in the past, is subjective. Which one's going to perform better at night in bad weather, and you hand one scope to somebody and they'll give their opinion, and somebody else that's used to another brand might think this other brand looks better. But I think as a consensus, all of these brands are doing much better. They do look really good. AGM, I think, has come along a long way, and I don't ever think that their stuff was bad, but there was some stuff back in the day, Jason, maybe like the old FLIR stuff that, when that rain set in, or if that fog, it was like, okay, we're just going to put it up, but that's,
Yeah, it was bad.
it was, yeah.
Yeah, they have gotten better, and I do think that there is so much of this, like you said, is subjective. I mean, does a Chevrolet or a Ford or a Dodge do better in the mud? I mean, go ask that on the internet. So I think that there is a lot of personal preferences that come into this. But I just wanted to bring this up. I didn't want to go well
Yeah.
off topic, but I just want to say, I know we get comments about that sometimes, like, hey, how does it do in humidity? It's like, if it did really bad, like unreasonably bad, we would mention that in our dislikes. We would say, oh, man, doesn't hold up great in humidity. But I just think we're to the point that this is something that I don't want to say has been fixed, because it's, again, no thermal sensor does wonderful in really nasty conditions. But I just think
No.
the playing field is level. And for me at this point, at least, again, and I'm speaking to the big name brands, the trusted brands that we carry. I'm not going to say this about every brand on the market, to be very clear. I'm talking about our brands that we review and sell and put our faith in. I just think that playing field's been leveled. But guys, this is a really good optic for $4,300. It is, again, we're talking pre-tariff prices. Who knows if the prices are going to change? I feel like there's going to be an asterisk by a lot of things and a lot of pricing, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 months. But at this price, it's a very, very good value for the dollar. Like I said, big display, LRF, great image quality, ballistic calculator for those who want it, all the different color palettes, the American Defense mount, the AGM 5-year warranty. If you're looking for an optic like this, I definitely think this needs to be on your short list. But you could have watched this and said, I don't even, it's been great. Looks like another great scope. Put that on the list with 50 other great scopes. Where do I start? Where do I stop? I would say to you, give us a call. We want your business, but we want to make sure you're buying the right scope for your needs and that fits inside your budget. It's not easy. We understand that. That's why we offer the service that we do. Call us at 877-350-1818 and just let us help you find and purchase the right optic for your needs. Hans, Garrett, myself, we're available and really, really look forward to talking to you guys. If you like what you've seen here, it is the Late Night Vision Show. You're here. Just click subscribe, and you can see more videos like this, hopefully every Thursday. It's not all reviews. A lot of times we're just talking about night hunting and other topics related to guns and hunting and shooting and Second Amendment and thermals. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, obviously on YouTube. Hans has got his own YouTube channel and social media accounts, as does Outdoor Legacy. Again, you can go to any of those socials and type in HANSETX for Hansies, Texas. You can find him there as well. Search Outdoor Legacy the same way.
Well, we appreciate y'all watching again. This has been another episode of the Late Night Vision Show. We've got many more reviews, AGM reviews. Like I said, we got the Rattler V3. Jason, we also have the Reach IR monoculars with the laser rangefinder. We need to review those as well. We're working on all this. We're trying to get all this video compiled and put it together and wrap it up with a nice little bow on top for you to come back and continually come back watch those reviews. But we appreciate it. We will see y'all soon. Until now and then, y'all stay safe.